The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome, I'm Mike O'Sullivan, CEO of One South Coast Chamber, and welcome to the One South Coast Chamber Business Connection. We're excited today to be joined by Katie Green, our Vice President of Marketing and Events, and Ian Trombley, our Vice President of Public Policy. Welcome.
Hello, Mike.
Thanks for having us.
Ian, welcome.
Thank you very
No
much. Great to be here with you.
show, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome
Good
back.
to be back.
It's great to have both of you here. We've had a busy spring, busy summer, and we're already working pretty hard getting into the fall. But right now, it's we can talk a little bit about our July. July usually is really quiet.
Yes.
But for somehow, some way, July was not quiet.
July was not quiet. I love July because that's when I do all my quiet Chowder Fest planning because there's not a lot going on, but I didn't get to do that, so we're playing catch up. But we'll talk about Chowder Fest a little bit later. But it was not quiet because we had the governor, Maura Healey, join us last week at White's.
Yeah, that was a great event. We packed the room.
Packed house.
How many people
About
did we have?
200 people we
About
had.
200
yeah.
people to have the governor, which was great. We hadn't had her down on the South Coast to talk to our members yet, so that was awesome to have her. I know people were excited to kind of hear from her and what she's been working on, the first couple of years of her administration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did a great job. She was, she's very personable, pays a lot of attention to specific details that, the business folks are concerned about. Always asking, whenever I see her, she's always asking, what are the things your members are worried about? And of course, you can get into that a little bit.
Yeah,
later,
of course. I mean, overall, we're constantly talking about Massachusetts competitiveness and how much it costs to live here and work here and play here. So she touched on a lot of those issues. We talked about housing and the cost of housing, down here on the South Coast, but across the entire state. It's a real issue. Talked about South Coast Rail and that new, development and connection to Boston. We talked about energy costs and, kind of that spike we saw this past winter, where everyone kind of had some sticker shock when those bills came in from, January, February, March. We talked about the unemployment system, which, ask any employer here in Massachusetts, the cost is just through the roof and rising. Never mind the fact that the system itself is insolvent. So we talked about that a little bit, and it was good to hear that it's an issue she's familiar with and her administration's working on. We talked about a big piece was the cuts from the federal government, right? There's been a lot going on down in Washington, and cuts in Washington have an impact on the states, particularly Massachusetts, who has a huge kind of relies on Medicaid and Medicare. Particularly on the South Coast and gateway communities like Fall River and New Bedford, who disproportionately rely on Medicare and Medicaid, and the providers, our South Coast Health, our Brown University Health, our health centers, the New Bedford Community Health Center, Health First.
Yep.
There's huge impacts if those cuts, trickle down to the states and what it's going to have on not just the patients, but the providers as well who are providing that care. So.
Yeah, she did a really good job just kind of outlining, what her administration is doing and some of the bills and how they're working with the senior leadership of both the House and Senate to try to make that work. And of course, our delegation was well represented. Senator Rodericks and State Rep Fiola and representatives from the other legislators' offices. But I'll tell you, the one thing I appreciated the most of all of it, it was, as you guys know, last week I was traveling after and I was out of town. But one of the nights, maybe it wasn't the night of the event, but it was like Wednesday night maybe. I was looking at my phone. I told you this. I told Katie this. I was looking at my phone, and all of a sudden I realized there's a video that the governor did a video with Kendra from La France addressing Kendra's daughter, who's 10 years old, and had said something along the lines of, like, Mom, you don't have anybody cool ever coming to work. And well, the governor's coming, and that's really cool. So Kendra was hoping to get a selfie, which she did, but the governor actually topped the selfie by doing a very short video with Kendra and inviting her daughter to the State House
Yeah.
this summer,
That was really cool.
which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's, it just, it just goes to show you that how personable the governor
Yeah.
can be. And
Absolutely. Things like that matter, not only to the daughter or Kendra, but like we're talking about it right now. Those things, have a real impact on her
And you-
constituents.
Yeah, you could see the excitement that
Yeah.
Kendra had, and I'm sure Mila was
Yeah.
equally as excited when she got to see that too. So
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
there's so many different topics, and we get such great feedback from our membership. What a great job she did addressing all the topics. So it was really great to be able to have her come down.
Yeah, and on top of affordability, one of the things she talked about is, of course, tourism across the state, but particularly down here in southeastern Massachusetts. I mean, we're on the coast. We have a beautiful waterfront coast here in our region. It's like a hidden gem that's it's becoming not so hidden anymore. But we have some great attractions like Battleship Cove, the Narrows, the Z, the Whaling Museum, and to hear her talk about the importance of tourism on an economy and how she gets it and how important it is, particularly down here in southeastern Massachusetts, was really nice to hear.
Yeah, and that's very true. When you look at how much money's been invested in the Narrows over the last 5 or 7 years, and you certainly look at how much money is being invested in the Zeiterion Theater right now,
Yep.
and then the Whaling Museum just broke ground.
Yep, they just $31 million renovation and expansion. They're going to be, I think, increasing their size by 2/3 across the street. They're doing a huge project. They just, had a celebration the other day. So there's a lot of great things going on. So
between the two cities, that's 4, major tourism attractions. That really help drive the economy. And I've said this to people before, because I know, like when the Z's having a big show, you hear from some of the Fall River restaurants that they get busy as well, and vice versa. If there's a great show going on at the Narrows, sometimes people actually stop and eat at the New Bedford restaurants as well. So there really is a great crossover with all of these, and of course the Battleship drives so many families to the region. It's just incredible to see that on a weekend and things like that.
Absolutely.
The school programs, when 3 or 4 buses pull up down there,
yeah,
it's really great. So it's great to know that the governor really recognizes the impact that has on our economy.
Yeah. And next year is going to be a huge year with Mass 250. It's going to be the 250th anniversary of the United States, and obviously Massachusetts played a huge role in that. A lot of Massachusetts, John Adams, John Hancock, those guys were founding fathers right here, and we're going to be celebrating 250 years. It's unbelievable. Next year.
When I was in Philadelphia last week at our National Chamber Conference, of course, the city of Philadelphia is taking credit for everything. And so the 4 or 5 of us from Massachusetts that kept having to say, including Jim Rooney from Boston, who's the chair of the organization. Jim's the president of the Greater Boston Chamber, but he's the chair of ACCE. So we all had to be like, excuse me, I think everything went through Massachusetts first.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. But Mass 250 and Mott, the Mass Office of Travel and Tourism, is doing a lot of great stuff with Mass 250, as is Chris Ann Terrell, who runs the Southeastern Mass Convention and Visitors Bureau. So she's got her hands full with Mass 250, but it's exciting stuff.
There is, and speaking of Chris Ann, some of the work they're doing, bringing folks, we've talked about South Coast Rail and kind of access to Boston. Well, it works both ways, and Chris Ann's doing a great job taking advantage of bringing folks from Boston to the South Coast, getting, transportation to the Narrows, to the Whaling Museum. I know last week they did something to the Feast. There's a lot going on, and if we can bring folks down from Boston and south of Boston too to this region. It's a great benefit.
There were shuttles from the New Bedford train stations to the Feast this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if people come down from the north, from Brockton, from Quincy and Boston, they come down on that line, they can, they don't have to take an Uber, they don't have to take a cab or whatever. They can just get. I'm dating myself taking a cab, but they can take the shuttle and they're there, and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about parking, as we know.
Yep.
Parking at the feast, because it's such a popular event, is
Yep.
always not so simple. But
Yeah.
yeah,
A
so,
$25 ticket will show that.
Yeah.
right, and I was talking to Chris Ann about the governor's speech last week, and Chris Ann, she didn't forget to point out to me that the Convention and Visitors Bureau they partnered with the Whaling Museum to buy ads on the train line.
Yep.
And the governor mentioned how in June, I think it was June, how the Whaling Museum's admissions were up like 18%, and when they looked at the zip codes where they were coming from, a lot of it was coming from the zip codes right around Boston or in Boston.
Yeah.
So South Coast Rail is having a great effect.
I've noticed, I get a lot of the phone calls being in marketing, and I'm sure Chrisanne gets them too, being in tourism, since the South Coast Rail came down
Yep.
to the South Coast, how many phone calls we get with people asking questions.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I had somebody call and say they were coming down to the feast and they wanted to visit the Whaling Museum and ask, what's the best way to do that, and do you know what time they open, and that sort of stuff. So we're getting a lot more phone calls, which is great, because we are seeing firsthand the drive that it's doing for tourism down here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when the Zeiterion opens in January, that's going to be phenomenal
Yeah.
to see the impact that
Right.
has, because it was already an incredible regional player, but now with this and we toured it
Yeah.
a few months back, to see the process and to know and understand how it's going to change and how it's going to grow, and there's many more. There's going to be a couple restaurants in there, a speakeasy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a great place, and it's really going to drive traffic. So I'm sure you're going to be getting a lot more calls.
Probably. Well, you think about, we easily drive to Providence to go to PPAC, or we'll go
Yeah.
up to Boston to one of the theaters up there. And now it's going to be so much easier for people to do the same and think of New Bedford like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the quality of shows are going to improve. I shouldn't really say improve, because they were great to start with, but they're going to be even better.
Top of the line, because of
Yeah.
all the acoustics that have been taken into account. Everything is being upgraded. So yeah.
And when you talk to Rosemary Gill, their executive director, about it, she's just so excited, anxious but excited,
Yeah.
because it's such a big project. But it's going to be great for the economy, and it's going to be great for everybody up and down the South Coast.
Yeah. Definitely. Anything else on the government affairs front, Ian, as our chair of the?
Well, I think we were excited to have the governor. We
Yeah.
look forward to hopefully having her again. We're going to be working with our legislative delegation on a lot of things coming up this summer and the fall. So a lot more to come. But
Yeah, we have a couple of events already on the calendar that you and I are working on
Yep.
together.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to those. We'll probably maybe announce those the next show that we have. We've got one in October and one in November, I believe.
Right.
So.
Yeah, those are going to be great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, back to tourism. It's Chowderfest time, guys.
The most wonderful time
The
of the
most
year.
wonderful time of the year. No, Chowderfest is a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, and mostly for me, but I can't do it without this chamber team for sure. But save the date. Chowderfest is happening Saturday, October 11th at our home on City Pier 3, which is the Black Whale parking lot in New Bedford. We're actively recruiting restaurants right now. So if you are a restaurant, or you know a restaurant, or even if you have a Serve Safe Board of Health approved kitchen and you want to come in as an individual competitor, we welcome that. It's free. We don't charge the restaurants to participate. And we have about 2,500 people, 3,000 people come through, depends on the weather. Last year, the weather was, that was your first
Beautiful.
Chowder Fest, right,
Yeah.
Ian? First working Chowder
yeah,
Fest.
exactly. But it was that weather
phenomenal.
participated, and you did
Yeah.
a great job.
Yeah.
putting on an
Thank
incredible
you.
show.
That's the
Thank
best
you.
the weather's ever been.
That was the best,
For the
because the year
Chowder
before, it
Fest.
had to make up for the year before, which was drizzly. It wasn't too nice the year before, but we still had a great crowd in 23. So fingers crossed, knocking on wood for chamber weather.
That's right.
And yeah, but we want to see more restaurants participate. And again, it's restaurants from all over the South Coast. We've had restaurants from Rhode Island in the past, Tiverton restaurants join us. So if you are interested or you know someone who's interested, please have them reach out. All of the information can be accessed right from that QR code on your screen.
Diamond Culinary Program too.
Diamond,
2
yeah,
years ago.
2 years ago, I think. I think they were the year it rained, actually, and they were winners. We talk about them a lot because they were voted People's Choice for Best Table Presentation, because that's one of the categories. And those kids, their excitement was just, it was the cutest thing. They were so excited, and we were excited for them. So yeah, we've invited all the school culinary programs, so we're hoping to get them. It's a little tough because the teachers, we know they're working all week long, and then they'd have to come and be with the students again on Saturday, but we would love to have them and anybody else. In the past, we've also had skilled nursing facilities as well. We've had the cottages in Dartmouth. There's another one I can't think of. Care One, New Bedford. That's the other one that we've had. So yeah, anybody who has a Safe Certified kitchen, please join us and feel free to reach out for more information.
How many people did we have last year? Do you remember? Estimate?
I think we had about 2,500 last year.
2,500.
Yeah.
That's an incredible,
people.
Yeah.
yeah, turnout and being able to get kind of your product out to so many people. And
Yeah.
it's a great
Well,
opportunity.
well, that's the thing. It's free because we don't charge. Obviously, it's the cost of their food that does cost them, but it's an absolutely awesome marketing opportunity for them. And that's another one. It's back to the tourism aspect. I have people. I don't know if you remember last year. I called a guy because he bought tickets and he was in Ohio. And I said, I just want to make sure that you bought tickets for the right event. This is Fall River, New Bedford, Massachusetts. And he said, yeah, we're going to be in Boston, and we were looking for things to do, and we saw a Chowder Festival, so we're coming down from Boston. And this is before the rail, so fingers crossed that this year the rail will bring even more people down our way for a beautiful chamber weather day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Year.
You know, we have to make sure we talk to Eric Russo about maybe additional shuttles.
Yeah, so maybe they can do a similar
because we
program
already
like they
have,
do in Lake Lepisa that we talked about.
We have the
earlier.
shuttle reserve, but that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah.
Just to make sure the folks that do take the train
at
can
CERTA.
get there.
Yeah.
Thank you to our friends at CERTA for
Yeah.
always shuttling our guests back and forth.
And you also have to make sure, in the beginning of July, the New Bedford Public Schools opened their central kitchen. It's like a 100,000 square foot kitchen that they're going to be using. It's going to primarily make all the food for all the public schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now if they're going to have this great kitchen, I think we should challenge our friend Andrew O'Leary to see how good the kitchen really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
Get them to come in.
That's
Yeah,
a great
agreed.
idea.
Maybe Andrew can serve some.
I like that.
He likes to get out in the public
Oh,
and
yeah.
see the people.
Yep.
He does.
Yep.
He does.
And then we can, if he says yes, then we come back to the Fall River Public School.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
get Dr. B, Amy Bronhard,
Yeah, there we go.
serve it.
Yeah, I love that idea. All right. So anyway, once again, save that date, Saturday, October 11th. Tickets will be on sale probably by the time this airs, actually. So we're working on all of that stuff right now. So stay tuned. We're working on the VIP deck again as well with the Black Whale. More information on that to come. And it's going to be great. So thank you guys in advance for all the hard work I'm going to put you through that.
Yeah, that was a good way to finish that. I was going to say.
I have to keep you guys on my good side. I mean, no, I have to stay on your good side is what I meant to say. All right, anyway, something else that we have going on, another community event is the job fair. It's our biannual job fair. So we did one in March over at Whites of Westport, and this one's going to be at Venus de Milo on Thursday, September 18th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
It's always a great event. It's the last couple job fairs, we've had 60 to 70 different businesses. and Cliff's always adding. He added Walt's closet,
Mobile closet. Yep.
closet the last couple times, and the first time we had Walt's mobile closet, it was a little. It took a little bit for folks to become comfortable.
Yeah.
But then this past year, it was off the charts. It
Yeah.
was fantastic.
And Walt's Mobile Closet is an opportunity for individuals who are coming in looking for a job, right, to go in. Maybe they're not comfortable with the shirt or the pants that they have at home, and they can go in and get something, that they're more comfortable in before they go into
Free
the
of
job
charge.
there.
Completely free of charge.
To go in and feeling
Yeah.
confident, to try and find a job.
Yeah, and
great.
it's everything. It's not just clothes, it's shoes, it's accessories. They have briefcases, handbags, all kinds of stuff to fully outfit you for the interview process. And I have to share one of my favorite job fair stories. Last year when we were, in March when we were setting up, a gentleman came through and he said the business that he was with, and he said his name, and he has a very unique name. I love his name. I won't say it because I think I'll botch it, but. And I said, I remember you because it's a name you don't forget. I said, you were at our last job fair, the one that we had done in September at Venus. Do you remember the story? And I said, you were here as a job seeker. He said, yes, I got hired that day. I said, and that's the company you're here for today? So he went from a matter of 6 months from being a job seeker, getting hired getting the interview process started that day in September, to in March now representing this business at the job fair looking for new talent,
Wow,
which I
that's
thought
awesome.
was such a cool full circle moment.
I don't think you had told me
I didn't
that.
tell you that story?
No, but that's a great story.
Yeah.
That's a great story. And I
Yeah.
think, one of the nicest things the last few times we've had the job fair is you hear more and more businesses saying how, within a few days of the job fair, they're actually hiring people that came in. They get a real quick conversation at the job fair, but then the follow-up happens so quickly, and because there's always, the way the economy is, and most employers are looking for employees, you can get hired within a week.
Right.
I'm not saying that happens to everybody, but it happens.
Yeah, the opportunities are there, absolutely.
Right, and that's something else that kind of goes back to Chowderfest is we hear from a lot of restaurants that sometimes it's difficult for them to participate. They would really like to be there, but it goes back to staffing, and we've been hearing this for at least 4 or 5 years now since COVID started. So even restaurants, we don't typically see restaurants at the job fair, but it would be a great opportunity
Yes.
for anyone who's looking to hire additional staff, whether it's kitchen support staff, dishwashers, food runners, wait staff, anybody like that to join us. So if you're looking for information on that, you can visit our website at onesouthcoast.com, or you can reach out to Cliff, our Director of Membership, who is the one putting this together. So we're looking forward to another fantastic event with a lot of people walking away with some interviews and hopefully sealing the deal and getting a job.
Right.
Yeah. Our last, we're going to call it a community event because this is, we do open this event up to the community as opposed to our member-based events, is one that we do every year, and it is our Valcor Outstanding Citizen Award. And this year we are very excited to announce that we will be honoring Tony Sapienza, who is just a real fixture on the New Bedford side of things. Ian, I know you know him well, and Mike as well. And
Yeah, I've known Tony for a long time, and he's very deserving. He's done a lot for this community, a number of different boards, whether it's the New Bedford Economic Development Council, the NBEDC, the Whaling Museum, which he was the chair of for a long time. He was the president, CEO of Joseph Abood for a number of years.
Right.
He's just been,
We'll never be able to give full credit to all the things
no.
that he's volunteered with over the years, but one in particular is Bristol Community College.
Yeah.
He was
Yes.
on the board at the college, I believe.
The foundation.
I know he was on the foundation
I
board
believe
as well.
he still may be. Yeah.
He is still on the board of the foundation, which does an enormous amount for the community, and it covers the entire region. I mean, the college has campuses in Attleboro, Taunton, Fall River, and New Bedford, and he's an incredibly deserving man. I mean, he really is. He's just done so much over his career, and he's really excited. I don't think I got to tell you this, Katie, but we finally talked about it at the governor's luncheon, and he was just beside himself. He's really excited and honored to be getting this award. And to be clear, it's kind of like the outstanding citizen for the entire South Coast. So it is a tremendous honor. Yeah. And it originated before the chambers merged to become One South Coast. The Valcourt Award, it originated with the Fall River Area Chamber, and it has since expanded. So, for someone like Tony, the concept of Valcourt is new to New Bedford, but he understands exactly what it means.
Yeah.
Right.
And last year the winner was Patrick Murray from Bristol County Savings. I think the year before it was Jim Wallace from Bay Coast Bank, who both of them are retired. Yeah. And Tony's actually been retired now. I'm not sure exactly how long. It's been a few years.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know with how busy and involved he is.
I think that speaks to kind of his character. He's been officially retired from Joseph Abboud for a number of years, yet he is involved in as many things as anybody else in this region. I mean, he is as involved as anybody.
We see him constantly.
Yeah.
He's at all kinds of events.
Especially things that are tied to NBEDC, the Whaling Museum, and he was huge in New Bedford in bringing some closure or a new, I don't know if you call it closure or new beginnings for the Star Store.
Yep.
And that was very recent in New Bedford that he just did that. But they were able to bring in another arts organization that has a history of owning properties and working with NBEDC to make that happen, and that was a major win for the community, and Tony was right smack in the middle of that. So and it's always like that. I mean, when you look at the Whaling Museum has this $31 million expansion going on now. Tony's not the board chair, but while they were planning it, bringing it all to fruition, he was the board chair when that was happening.
Yeah.
So he really is a wonderful person, very deserving winner of the award.
Yeah.
And if you went back and you looked for years back at the names of the folks from the community who won, Tony's right there with all of them. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations again, Tony. And if you'd like to join us in honoring him, that's going to be on Wednesday, September 10th at Century House in Acushnet. All right, real quick, we've got about a minute left to go. So networking events. On Thursday, no, we don't want to go that far in advance. August 7th, we have 2 business after hours this month. The first one is going to be at the New Bedford Whaling Museum, which is going to be, we have a lot of people registered for that, so that's going to be a fun one. And then on the 12th of August is our South Coast Business Builders Breakfast, hosted by Child and Family Services at one of their Fall River locations. And then on the 28th is the saddest business after hours that we do, because it's the ServPro's annual end of summer bash. It's a fun one.
It's also one of the funnest.
It is really fun, but it's always a little bittersweet for this one, because I don't want to think about the end of summer.
I'm with you.
I'm a summer girl through and through. So any of these events, if you're interested in attending, once again, you can visit our website at onesouthcoast.com. And that about does it.
That just takes us down to just about no time.
Yeah.
So Katie and Ian, thank you so much, as always. It's a lot of fun to do the show. It's more fun to work with you guys.
Aw.
Likewise.
We're looking forward to everything as we continue to finish out the year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.